been traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. He's been I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. God has. I want to scream, y'all. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's so good to me. Let me tell you, God has everybody. Sometimes He has set God Almighty, I feel so good. God has smiled on me. Oh yeah. Good to me. One more time. God has smiled on me. Every day of my life, I feel it. He gives me strength and energy. God help me to sing. He's been good to me. Oh yeah. This is Reverend Al Sharpton of Brooklyn, New York. I've been traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to scream, y'all. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's done good to me. Let me tell you, God has everybody, sometimes He has set God about it. I feel so good. God has smiled on me. Oh yeah, good to me. One more time. God has smiled on me. Every day of my life, I feel it. He gives me strength and energy. Helps me to sing. He's been good.
It's Friday,
This is Reverend Al Sharpton of Brooklyn, New York.
June 27th,
Talking to the radio announcers, the
Black
people in the street,
Music
telling
Month.
them that God has smiled
Do
on me.
you
God has
know
smiled on you
what
if you got breath
time
in your
it
body. If He
is?
woke you up this morning and started
It's
you on
Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And for the next 3 hours, it is Exhale Friday. On Friday, we let you talk about whatever is on your mind, whatever is in your heart. All you have to do is call me at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on to our live stream message page. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and you can go on the message page like Lillian Moore saying on the message page right now, good day. X Williams says, good afternoon from New York. Janet Overall says, shared. Dita Green, good afternoon, Reverend Al Sharpton and the followers. And just on and on and on. People already clocked in, ready to talk about the issues, and a lot to talk about today. It is Exhale Friday, and you had some Supreme Court decisions that dropped today, and we're going to get into that. We have the continued reaction to the primary in New York, where Zoran won a decisive election in terms of the primary, and he will be at the Saturday Action Rally tomorrow. Spike Lee and he will be there. And what it means, one of the reasons it's interesting is if Mandandi becomes the mayor, as he's now won the Democratic nomination, he will be the first Muslim mayor of the city of New York in the history of the city. Aside from the fact that he come from way behind and is certainly born in Uganda, raised as a person from an African kind of Indian background. It's going to be very interesting where the community goes, but he won. We're going to talk about that. We are anxious to hear what he has to say at the House of Justice tomorrow morning. And as I said, Spike and many of the elected officials, many of our ministers will be there to hear what Mandani has to say. Let me also tell you, we want to get into the Supreme Court decisions, what they meant and did not mean. They definitely dealt with the issue of birthright citizenship, but kind of kicked the can down the road, saying what states cannot be stopped from doing, but didn't say about what they want to do, what they want to see done, what is the issue in birthright citizenship. Now, this comes out of the Dred Scott decision. Even President Trump in his press conference cited that the 14th Amendment was around children of slaves. He said not children of bandits and criminals, or whatever language he used. But once you set the law, you cannot have the law be indistinguishable if you rob the rights of everybody. So I want to get into that. But let me tell you, thank you, Karamu and Buffalo's on. Let me tell you, this stuff that is going on affects everybody. You cannot choose to step out of it. I don't want to hear all that politics. I don't hear that legality. You are governed by it. Your job, where you live, the zone of where your house is or apartment is. All of that is politically decided. So when you tell people I'm not involved in politics, you're telling them how foolish you are. You are involved. The utility bill you pay for, the rate is determined by politics. Your rent, your house, whether it's a mortgage or a rent, determined by politics and the interest rates on your mortgage. The zone you live in, that is residential zone or business zone, determined by politics. Your job, the amount of taxes they can take out your pay, whether they take out Medicaid, Medicare, what's going to happen to your Social Security, all determined by politics, who's in office. So don't tell nobody you're not in politics, because they'll look at you like you're ignorant. or as my mother used to say, ignorant. Because you are involved in politics. The bed you woke up on this morning, the actual sheets was cleared that you could buy those sheets by the administration that handles looking at products that can be sold. Understand that now. The apparel industry has to pass certain government regulations to sell apparel, whether it is your suits, whether it's a custom-made dress, whether it's your underwear. So you're sitting there. I want you to get this right. You're sitting there in government-sanctioned clothes, covering government-approved underwear, getting ready to eat FDA, Food and Drug Administration, cleared lunch, going this evening to a licensed by the city or the county restaurant if you're going out, or if you're going to a party at a club. All of that you will see has to have a license or a permit on the wall, which is politics. And you're driving a car that the cost of which was determined by how the economy was functioning, sanctioned by government. You stop for a red light, green light, or yellow light, which is run by the municipality you're driving in. You're in politics. You just are deciding you're going to let everybody else decide for you. Because you're so mindless and reckless with your time that you rather just let everybody make up your mind what kind of world you're going to live in, and you don't even want no say-so in it, even though people have fought to give you the right to have some say-so. I just thought I'd break it down to you, because I've talked to people too. Well, I'm not into that. Yeah, you are. You all the way in. No choice. The hospital you was born in was probably a county hospital. I was. Well, the services in there is determined by politics, budgets, service. So stop telling somebody you ain't in politics. Nobody would know you was that uninformed if you'd keep quiet. If you didn't tell nobody, they would think you real smart. You're at the job right now listening to me, peek over the next cubicle and hope they don't know that you used to run around talking that ignorant stuff. I ain't listening to that stuff. You and I must do a reality check. All right, so it is Exhale Friday. I'm going to line up the calls for you that want to be heard nationwide at 1-877-532-5797. And I'm going to the message board, back and forth, phone call message board. Let's try to get everybody in on Exhale Friday. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God doesn't smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say this song. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. He's been I feel it. Then I went on backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. He has set me free. God smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I went home and I told my mother what Brown told me. And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief. All we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burning down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 don't smile on me. Now then, the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. And that has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I said, God smiled on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on me. We need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Clay Powell said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time was years ago, and we can still make it. We can still hold on like Frederick Douglass did. We can still keep him on like Martin Luther King did. We can still ride on the way everyone that made it did. They didn't have much, but they had a whole lot of faith. They didn't have money, but they had a lot of determination. We know that God will look out for his children, that God will make a way out of no way. If you just keep the faith and refuse to lose, and God will make a way, because God's children don't have color. God's children just have will. And I can still hear somewhere in my mind James Brown say, God had found me. He had let me free. Let me stay here. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, Lord.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
Live, Ref.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
You're live, Ref.
Okay, wait a minute.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
All right. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. It's Exhale Friday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, let me say by way of announcements, don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live Saturday and Sunday, tomorrow and Sunday. And among my guests this weekend, I'm going to dig deep into what the Supreme Court issues mean to us on the ground. And we'll have on members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Welch, and we'll have dealing with what is going on in the Middle East and the truth that they found out around the whole Iran invasion. Congresswoman Sheila Cherfulis McCormick, she's on the ranking, she's a ranking committee on the subcommittee on the Middle East and North Africa. And we'll have Janae Nelson on from the NAACP Legal Defense Fund to break down the Supreme Court ruling. And we'll have Congressman Al Green on, talk about his impeachment procedure against the president on the Iran bombing. And I'm going to have mayoral candidates on. I'm going to have Alfonso David on from the Black Economic Forum. And I'm going to have Bishop Reginald Jackson on, talk about what is going on in our black church community and what it is that we are seeing, the racial tensions under Trump and the removal of Dr. King's bust from the Oval Office in the White House. So we got a lot for you Saturday and Sunday. Make sure you watch both nights, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. And I'm giving you just a taste of what I'm going to deal with tomorrow and on Sunday. Then the Saturday Action Rally, I'm inviting everybody to be there early because tomorrow morning our guest is the new Democratic nominee for mayor who has just shaken up everybody, but he will be at the House of Justice tomorrow morning, Zoran Mandani, who is now the Democratic candidate. And we're going to see what he has to say. And he says, I'm coming to the House of Justice. I was there. Said I'd be back. He'll be there. Spike Lee's coming. And coming doesn't mean you're endorsing either way, but you want to hear what somebody's got to say. And the really impressive campaign he ran and startling finish, I think we ought to hear what he has to say and entertain it. I talked, well, I'll leave that till tomorrow. But Mandani will be there, Spike Lee, many of our ministers, and you should be there. Be there early because a lot of people coming because they now want to hear what he has to say. And he'll be there in the morning. Rally is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. And you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television. And you can watch it at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Now, also, the numbers are ticking up. People getting our weekly messages on how to get people ready to support and be a part of the Wall Street March. The March on Wall Street is August 28th, which is the anniversary of the 1963 March on Washington. We usually do it in Washington. We are not going to Washington this year. We're going to Wall Street because we want to put the private sector, the people that are the real people that make this economy run, we want to put them on notice. So we definitely want everybody to register and everybody to get my message every week as we gear up toward that march. All right, let me get some calls in, and I really want to get an interpretation of the Supreme Court, but let me take a couple of calls, and then I'm going to have our expert explain what the Supreme Court ruling really meant. Let's go to my dear friend, the beloved Miss Eunice in Chicago. Miss Eunice, you're keeping it real on XL Friday. Is Miss Eunice there?
Yes.
Yes. You're on.
I'm here.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. How are you, Rev?
I'm doing good. You all right?
Yes, something's wrong with my phone. It's on and off. I spent so much time yesterday. Rev, I just want you to know I'm finally getting to the ripe old age of 92 on Sunday, if God sees fit.
My God. Thank God. Well,
Yes.
bless you. 92 years young.
Yes, and thank you. Had some weary days, but I've certainly had some great ones. I've been blessed, a wonderful family and friends.
Well, consider me one of them, and happy birthday to you from all of the Keeping It Real family, the National Action Network family, the Rainbow Push family. You are so active with everybody, and I had no idea you was going to be 92. That's amazing. God bless you.
Well, thank you. And so moving right along, Rev, Trump is sending letters to CNN and others that they are ruining his reputation. Are you kidding? He ruined it a long time ago. He just don't have sense enough to know it. And why is the news media letting him get away with all the lies that he tells? I'm hoping that they would get together, all of them, and just tell the news. But I guess they're compromised also, and all of them seem to be afraid. Just come out and tell the story. He's going to talk about you anyway. And the guy who Trump selected to be a judge is ridiculous. he wouldn't answer questions before the committee. It is a mockery of justice, and they think they shouldn't obey the law. They have really, really went above the order. And thank you, Rev, for taking my call, and God bless you and love you, and I'll talk to you on Monday.
Well, God bless you, love you. You have a great birthday on this coming Sunday. 92 years
Thank
old.
you
That's
so
my
much.
beloved friend, Miss Eunice. And Trisha's saying on the message board, happy 92nd birthday, Miss Eunice. Trisha's saying that, and then Bruce Turner. I like what Bruce Turner just posted. He says, like Joe Madison would say, quote, what you gonna do about it, end of quote. The Supreme Court is coming for your civil rights. I can hear Joe Madison say that in my ear. He is absolutely right. Question is, they made their move. What are we going to do with ours? Harriet Walters says, I never miss Politics Nation. That time is reserved for me and to me every week, and I dislike it when it is disrupted with something else. God bless you and all you do. I appreciate that. I need to know that people are watching. I know the ratings are good, but it's nothing like hearing people themselves. And I see, I believe it was Tricia says she's gonna set her to tape it, the DVD it. If you're going out, tape it, so you can stay up with what we're doing. I think, and I think that it is important. Let me go to Rodney Jones. Mayor Rodney Jones says, happy birthday to all of my Cancerian brothers and sisters. God bless you. All right, Mayor John. I'm sure the mayor will be there to see Brother Mandani in the morning. Ma'am Danny in the morning. I told him this good luck because I'm learning to say his name. Last person I couldn't say the name right was Barack Obama. I got it right, and so did the country. So, so I told him. So it's good. A lot of us trying to figure out how to say it right, because Zoran is a name we gonna know a lot of. Zoran Mamdani. Zoran Mandani. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real, Sharpton. Be right back.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me, and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
and I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people They call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustling. I kept going, and the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm
1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
Because I have a dream today.
When they came for the dream.
You live, Rev.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. We had several important Supreme Court decisions today, and so you will not go into the weekend misunderstanding what the decisions mean and does not mean, and going off, as the expression say, half-cocked. I've asked our show's wonk expert, and she is the vice chairman of the National Board of National Action Network, CEO of Protestant Welfare Agencies in New York, and with us every Thursday for our wonk hours. I asked her to come in today by phone and explain to us the Supreme Court decision. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. How you doing today, Jenny?
Doing all right, Reverend Sharpton, and always good to be with you, and always glad when I can come on and help out however best I can. So as you said, the Supreme Court issued several decisions today, and what happens is the Supreme Court wraps up its term at the end of June every year, and so what it will do is put forth a lot of decisions, and then sometimes it will hold over cases to the next term. And what they've done today is they've come down with a few key decisions, one on birthright citizenship and President Trump's executive order essentially trying to end birthright citizenship. A second one centering on schools having LGBTQ books that children would read, and whether or not that's an issue that parents should be able to opt out of. And then the third that they decided on was a decision that would have, or an action taken by the government to essentially decide what preventive services are free under the Affordable Care Act. And then there was a district decision about reassessing district lines for voting, but that was pushed to the next term. So the biggest one is the executive order on birthright citizenship. And the callers and the listeners may remember that early in Trump's term, I believe it was back in January, he issued an executive order that essentially was going against the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. And his order would end birthright citizenship in the U.S. for children of illegal immigrants, as well as immigrants legally but temporarily present in the United States. Children, immigrants, illegal immigrants, children of illegal immigrants that would, have student rights, work, tourist visas, that type of thing. So he was centering on, quote, illegal immigrants. And what happened was when he issued that executive order in federal courts across the country. Now, remember, federal courts will apply. You'll have a few federal courts over X number of states. But a lower federal court does not actually have rulings over the entire nation. The Supreme Court rules over the entire nation. Federal courts, when they do rule, can create precedent for other federal courts, but they don't necessarily have binding authority across the land. Well, what happened was you had a case that challenged the president's executive order. It went before a Biden appointee, and essentially what it did was it asked the court to enjoin the president's executive order for immigrants, for pregnant women whose children would be impacted by the president's executive order saying that illegal immigrants could not have birthright citizenship. And what it did was it asked the judge, the Biden appointee, to certify a nationwide class, meaning that anybody in the nation that would be covered by this immigrant birthright citizenship ban. Essentially what the plaintiffs were saying was that let's protect everybody across the nation, children, future children, others who would be similarly situated. It made its way to the Supreme Court, and today the Supreme Court decided not about the birthright citizenship ban, but essentially said that a district court, a lower federal court, could not issue an injunction that was nationwide, that was going too far. That doesn't mean that birthright citizenship has been decided upon. Essentially, it hasn't. It's just saying, the Supreme Court is saying, we're limiting the ability of federal judges to stop any presidential policies across the United States. You cannot have a nationwide order that limits the president's policies nationwide. So now what has to happen is that the lower courts all across this land, you're going to have plaintiffs showing up in lower courts across this land seeking to block the executive order. What the order did, what the United States Supreme Court did, was they did not end birthright citizenship as Donald Trump would like. Essentially what they did was they said that the lower courts cannot say, we're going to enjoin the president's policy from going forward across
So the real decision was based on whether or not a district judge could issue a nationwide
That's
decision.
exactly right.
They could only deal with the within their jurisdiction, but they did not directly they did not directly address the issue of birthright citizenship.
That's exactly right. And so what you'll now likely see happening, because the Supreme Court's order doesn't go into effect for 30 days, meaning Donald Trump can't implement this birthright citizenship order anywhere in the United States for 30 days. But what's likely going to happen now in these 30 days is you'll see in lower federal district courts across the nation, you'll have plaintiffs, immigrants' children, coming forward and saying, we need to have an injunction to block this presidential order. It's illegal. It violates the 14th Amendment. And so you'll see these cases popping up everywhere. And then ultimately what will happen is it may eventually get to the Supreme Court where they actually have to decide whether or not the birthright ban, the executive order, is in violation of the 14th Amendment. But right now they haven't decided that.
All right. And they have decided that people their parents can object to certain literature in schools, LGBTQ and other books in schools. That was one decision.
Yep, that's exactly right. What they said there was that they feel like the separation of church and state essentially has gone so far that it's actually now discriminating against people on the basis of religion. So if people feel for religious purposes that they do not want their children essentially being taught and being made to read books about persons who identify as a member of the LGBTQ community, they don't want their children reading about this because they feel it violates their religious principles, then they can opt out and not have their children be educated in this fashion.
And the Louisiana congressional redistricting case, they also had to deal with whether it was violating law, and I think they maintained that. Is that correct?
They maintained that, but they said they're going to revisit. They may look at some other aspects of it, so they haven't completely acted upon that. The one that they did act on, too, though, was that there was a case that was going to end preventive services of not yet identified types under the Affordable Care Act. Like, could the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, could they determine that certain preventive services would not be provided free of funding anymore with that? And the Supreme Court said that the task force that the government put in place to actually look at that can go forward and they can make decisions, but there hasn't been any decision about anybody losing affordable health care at this point.
And lastly, clarify for us about restricted web access, age-restricted web access.
Now, that one I'm not yet familiar, but if you give me a few minutes, I can come back and spend more time with it.
I'm going to need you to do that. All right.
Back to you.
All right. She's going to get right back. I hope that gives you clarity. Let me take some calls. The board is lit up, message board and phone board. So let me go to Detroit to Sly while she's looking that up. Sly, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. I don't hear slide.
Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. You know, as we close out, before I get started, as we close out Black Music History Month, I just wanted to drop a somewhat of a forgotten gem. And it goes back to around 84. Very good song by evangelist Shirley Caesar. You remember a song called Sunday is on the Way?
Yeah, I do remember that. She's one of my favorite artists.
Yes, man. She told that story about the resurrection.
Yeah.
But moving on. I just, I've been telling a lot of people that these white folk out here that are really showing their tails, they have to realize that they are also descendants of illegals, because they came over here, they stole land and killed people, and in their effort to take over and colonize. And what they did, they put in a government to govern us and protect them. Okay, so they need to be mindful, because there may come a time when the rabbit gets the gun and it won't be fun for them. There is a such thing as karma. But yeah, I just wanted to get that
Yeah,
across,
you made a strong point, and thank you for your call. Let me get ready to go to the break. Come back. We're coming back to Jennifer Jones Austin and you on the phones. I just want y'all to have clarity on what the Supreme Court decisions are. And of course, it's Exhale Friday. And as said, we're in the last days of Black Music Month. You can make your comments on significant people in Black Music Month or their work. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 Black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is, as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40, and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Rev, you know you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that
Yep.
was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, but I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene with yourself,
Yep.
Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question.
Yep.
What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair, man.
Yeah, you had the head on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut, so we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK. Come on. we've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest, who could run around the pulpit more, or who got the dresses fancier, and don't deal with the ministry. Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well. To the airport and get the details on the way.
Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. Keeping it real. It's Exhale Friday. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we have Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin on the line. It is Friday, not Thursday. You're not confused. But I asked her to come in for a couple of segments to interpret the Supreme Court decisions today, and she's broke down what the court decided and did not decide about birthright citizenship. Basically, it broke. It sided, in my opinion, with the president in saying that states of district federal judges could not rule nationwide, but they did not address the issue itself of birthright citizenship. And it also ruled in terms of religious parents can object to their children being exposed to that they can opt their children out of classrooms, exposing their children to LGBTQ themed books based on religious beliefs. They can do that. Jenny, you back with us? Is Jenny back with us?
Right here with you, sir.
All right.
I'm right here.
And you were looking up for us the case about Texas restricting access to adult websites based on users' age?
Right. And so in this particular case, there was a Texas law that required that people accessing websites with sexually explicit material, that they had to verify that they were over the age of 18. And you had some plaintiffs saying, well, when I do that and I have to enter my personal information, it's a violation of free speech and it's a violation of freedom of expression under the Constitution, under the First Amendment of the Constitution. And so what the lower court said, yeah, you're right. It's probably unconstitutional to require you to verify your age. But then higher court said, no, it's not. That's how it made its way to the Supreme Court. And what the Supreme Court had to decide is whether or not a state law that essentially was requiring people to give their personal information in order to access a website was restricting their free speech. When you are restricting an individual's free speech, you have to show a higher level of judicial scrutiny, and you have to show that you're not just willy-nilly taking away somebody's freedom of speech, freedom of expression. And what the Supreme Court ruled is that protecting the interests of young children, asking people to verify their name, their age, perhaps maybe their address, some other identifiers, is not a violation. That information is retained by the website and by search engines. It's not put out there for public consumption. So therefore, it was okay that the burden to the person accessing this site, worried about their rights being violated, was not so significant for us not to be concerned about the welfare, the well-being of children under the age of 18. So the Supreme Court upheld the law, saying that people accessing sexually explicit websites under this specific Texas law have to provide their personal information.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in and an extra day, and I appreciate the clarity. Thank you. And we let her go. Attorney Jennifer Jones,
Thank
Austin,
you,
Esquire.
sir.
I'll be seeing you at the Saturday Action Rally in the morning. I know you're coming by because of the special guest tomorrow. All right, let's go to the phone. Let's go to the phones to Still Bill in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's XL Friday. Still Bill, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
This is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Good afternoon, Reverend.
Good afternoon.
I want to give a shout-out to Lincoln Ware and the staff of WBBC The Buzz, AM radio, which I listen to this excellent show. And I also like to give you your props, Reverend, for being a stellar host as far as Black Music Month is concerned on your show. You have truly been, a host of asking us our favorite songs and everything, and you've just been stellar the whole entire month of advertising Black Music Month, as well as Black History Month as well. Months that Donald Trump cannot mess with. He has tried to eliminate Juneteenth and Black history and everything, but you know what? We stand strong. And I applaud you, Reverend. I do want to say that I hate to see Black Music Month end on a sad note with the recent deaths of one of the Scott brothers from the R&B group The Whispers, as well as Atlantic Star's Wayne Lewis.
Yeah.
These were truly musical giants who I wished I had met to tell them how much I enjoyed and loved their music and everything, but they will be missed.
Yeah, they will.
And like I said, Reverend, it's a pleasure being on the show, and I will always give you your props as well as Dominique. Not only have you kept it real, you kept it Black. And I thank you, Reverend.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Always good to hear from you, Brian. Let me go to I'm saying Brian is next. I was talking to Still Bill. I'm sorry. Still Bill. I'm going to Brian right after I read some message on the message board. Evangelist Ramsey, one of our leading activist evangelists, writes, good afternoon, Rev. Enjoyed you yesterday as you continue to speak truth to power. Continue to keep it real. You know when you do that, people become unattached. I love it. I come here without anyone attached to me, leaving the same way. Amazing how folk touch God's anointed with their tongue-biting lies, shout one to make them the victim. Yet I am the one who prays for them and their family folk. But Romans 8 reminds us we should continue to pray for sin. We should continue to pray because grace is given. All right, thank you, Evangelist Ramsey. Let me go to Brian in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD. Brian.
Reverend Al.
Yes.
Amen. First, I want to say to send deep birthday blessings to glorious Eunice. May her joy, wisdom, and legacy continue to shine. And also, I want to say this. It is a profound honor and something I do not take lightly to even have a chance to speak with my hero on a show as sacred as this, yours, Keeping It Real. Rev, I don't come with credentials or fame. I come with deep gratitude. This show is a spiritual force in my life and in the lives of everyone who you selflessly give the mic to, who feel politically homeless but morally rooted. So thank you for making spaces for all of our voices. Lately, I've been thinking about a lot about one song that feels prophetic for this moment. Do you remember Enough Is Enough by Donna Summer and Barbara Streisand?
Yeah, wow. I do remember that.
That 1979 Black-Jewish duet wasn't just disco. It was a declaration, a coalition anthem, a groove-powered rebuke of despair and bigotry, and we need that spirit again now. So I turn to you, Rev, with this, a proposal for a historic interfaith roundtable for the soul of democracy. What if you hosted a public dialogue, but much better yet, even a recurring series on Netflix or YouTube, featuring New York's most trusted Muslim, Jewish, and Christian leaders and elected officials from opposing wings of the Democratic Party? I'm imagining Imam Talib of Malcolm X's Harlem Mosque, or Imam Abdullah and Tepli, or Rabbi Angela Buchdahl and Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum, with you, Rev, as the prophetic center. And what I'm imagining is leaders like Ilhan Omar and AOC on the one side, and Richie Torres and Debbie Wasserman Schultz on the other. And the reason I'm asking this, Rev, it's a little convoluted, but see, I used to be in DSA. And I wish I could join you tomorrow in New York. And if I could, I would bring a sign that says DEI, not DSA. See, I used to be in DSA until I realized it was a cult. Because, Rev, every single time I tried to defend Black democratic women who we should be centering and who should be leading, like Maxine Waters or Kamala Harris, I was mocked or ignored. And that's when I realized this isn't about justice. It's about Marxist orthodoxy, not democratic pluralism. So I've been begging for a coalition that affirms both Jewish safety and Palestinian dignity, but it won't happen unless someone brave invites everyone to the table, and you, Reverend Al, have the moral authority, the interfaith trust, and the generational credibility to create a space that no one else can, a space where people of faith and people of conscience can wrestle honestly with some of the most weaponized, misunderstood words in our public life, like Zionism, jihad, and patriotism. And the point wouldn't be agreement, Rev. The point would be rather faithful public dialogue.
Yeah, clarity. Clarity.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I wrote the names down. I'm gonna give it to my team, see if we can put that together. That is pertinent, particularly with Zoran just winning the primary, which is going to bring all this misstated stuff out. Now's the time to try to have that dialogue very publicly and negotiate that, as you said, with Netflix or somebody. We need to get that on right away. I really, really appreciate that call, Brian. Really appreciate that. You gave me something to really think about and work on. All right, let's take a break. I like that. Let's take a break. It's Exhale Friday, keeping it real. Sharpton, be right back. 1 year ago and change, 67 weeks ago, we started marching every Thursday, am I right, on the offices of Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman was the architect of ending DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. He started it. I want to give a little history because a lot of people get Negro-itis and get confusion. I don't even mind your ego. Everybody need one, but you don't have to become contrary and duplicitous. We got to have integrity even among those with ego. So we started when they first came out against DEI. Now Ackman and them started it going to Harvard University, forcing out the first black woman and first black president of Harvard. We went to his office and been going 67 weeks. I went first 10, 12 weeks. And this brother, stand up, Reverend Ron McHenry, coordinator House of Justice. This brother has been there every week. Many of you here in the audience have marched every week. So we didn't just get in this. We were in it the day they came at Claudine got. Last year's convention, we dealt with DEI. This year we said that we're going at these corporations that had come out against DEI. Many of you, most of y'all I'm looking at was at the convention. And we hit Pepsi. Pepsi called and said, all right, we 8-9 days in, we agree to meet. And we went, purchased New York. Chairman of our board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, and Carol Wallace, who's a special advisor to us on finance, and laid out to them that one, we don't care what you call it, DEI, IED. Y'all are gonna keep your commitments in terms of the black community. And that means we don't want special privilege, but we do not want to be specially excluded. This is not about we don't want merit. We feel if our people are at the table, we can beat anybody on merit in many cases. So we want from employment to your board, to how you deal with marketing, to who does your financial investment. We want to go across the board with that. Otherwise, if you don't want to deal with the question of diversity in how you do your business, then don't deal with diversity in your consumer base, because you don't believe in diversity. So we just will try to remove all the dollars we can from buying your stuff. In fact, I told the chairman, met with the chairman of the board, met with the CEO. I said, in fact, I learned that not from growing up civil rights, I learned that from Donald Trump. I said, what do you mean? I said, Donald Trump says he's gonna redo tariffs, that if he doesn't get what he wants for the country, they were gonna raise the tariffs. I'm doing the black tariff reverse. If we don't get what we want, I mean, y'all can't be for Trump and tariff and not be for us in the African American community with a tariff. Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your areas. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm
April 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of
I have a dream
You got to be the new thing. This is not about likes on Facebook. This is about changes in our society. We got a hostile bigot in the White House, and we don't need a popularity contest. We need people that are grounded and rooted in this and gonna fight with all they got. Jesus went up on the mountain and told his disciples. Reverend Toon said, y'all pray with me. They went to sleep. And when they looked up, they say that he had gone up on the mountain. They termed transfiguration. Is that in the book? And he was talking to Moses and Elijah. If Jesus had to talk to those that preceded him, then how you so brilliant you ain't got to talk to nobody? So as we embark on dealing with this DEI fight, I wanted to read. I studied all week. What would Dr. King be saying? What would Reverend Jackson be saying? That's what we do. This ain't a Sharpton thing or whoever thing. This is a thing in continuity. If Dr. King can shut down the Montgomery bus boycott when we couldn't even ride the front of the bus, if Jesse Jackson could take on major corporations before we had cell phones, then we in our day can take these companies that want to say no DEI and shut them down because we come out of a tradition and a lineage that can do that.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, Twitter.com, The Rev Al, Twitter.com, The Rev Al. And let's go to Rufus in Savannah, Georgia. Rufus, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'd like to start off the show and giving my condolences to Mr. Walter Scott of the Whispers. He passed away today at 81.
Yeah.
And it was a great artist. Really, really made an impact on the music industry. They also recorded a song in honor of George Floyd in 2020. How long must we fight? And I'd like everybody to go stream it and show some support to that recording in his honor.
What was the song now?
How long must we fight?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I also like to point out that last week, a week or so ago, they was giving all the praise and all the accolades to Tucker Carlson about something that Elon Omar has been saying for 5 or 6 years. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was giving her, never gave her no accolade. They called her anti-Semite. You know what I'm saying? And when she was making the same points that Tucker Carlson was supposed to be making to Ted Cruz and this big thing that blowed up all over the internet. You know, like nobody never said it. You know, so I'm giving my shout outs to Miss Omar of Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? Because she already put that out. She had been saying things similar, no, not similar, exactly the same thing. She wasn't saying nothing different.
Why do you think they wouldn't give her credit?
Oh, you already know why they won't give her credit. Because she a black woman. You know, that's why they won't give her no credit for saying it. You know, they're gonna call her everything but a child of God, call her anti-Semite. They're gonna call her an anti-Semite, which she's Somalian, which is one of the most ancient Semitic people on earth. Another thing I think the Democrats is passing, and the only reason why I'm saying the Democrats are overlooking it is because the Republican Party is sold out to Donald Trump. So there's no hope for them. People trying to hope that they stand up, these Republicans stand up and say, this is not right, or that is not right, or this is not right. That's old. You can forget about that. No Republican will go against Donald Trump. That's out. You know what I'm saying? But I want to put this little bug in your ear, Rev Mal. I think we're overlooking something that's a big talking point on our side.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been, and that's Mike Pence and his wife. The question should be on everybody's tongue. I'm saying it on the Democratic, because the Democratic side, because those are the only ones fighting against the fascism situation in America. They should ask, where is Mike Pence? They keep asking about where's Obama, or where's George Bush, or where's the other ones that are supposed to be speaking out. Where is Mike Pence? They're supposed to be Christian, conservative vice president of Donald Trump. He know a whole bunch of stuff. I guarantee you, he know where all them bodies buried. He know him and his wife. And that should be every Democrat politician crying battle cry from here to the next election. Where is Mike Pence? What does Mike Pence know? And when did Mike Pence know it? Do you realize that they have allowed him to slip right off the radar and nobody even talks about him no more?
That's very true. I had not thought about it, but you're right.
And it's a reason why. Because they know that if that conversation starts percolating back into the into the media, then somebody it's going to cause a lot of people to start thinking.
Yeah, I think you make a very good point.
Where is Mike Pence? That's what I'll be saying from here to the next election day. Where is Mike Pence? What does he know? When did he know it?
I like that. All right, I got to move on. Thank you for your call. Let me take my break. I'm coming to everybody on the phones and on the message pad. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
We've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who could run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry? Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well.
Rev, you know, you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question. What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair, man.
Yeah, you had the head on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut. So we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
You're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. And of course, you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can absolutely at that site go to live stream and get the message page and send me a message. All right, don't forget tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. And as I said earlier, we have robust shows both Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to have on over the weekend Senator Peter Welch, who's on the Judiciary Committee. I want to talk to him about the negotiations about the civil rights in the Senate, the bills that are passing, Senate negotiations on what is going on with the various decisions of the Supreme Court. I'm going to have Representative McCormick, who's the ranking subcommittee person on the Middle East and North Africa, give me the truth on what you know or don't know about what's happening on with the Iran situation, that we keep getting these clouded, I don't trust him, briefings from President Trump. So over the week, I'm going to have Janae Nelson, head of the Legal Defense Fund, and Alfonso David of the Black Economic Forum, to break down for us what these decisions are made and where we are in terms of fighting on DEI and these companies out dealing with Pepsi and others dealing with Amazon and Target and other things. Congressman Al Green will be on this weekend talking about his moving to impeach Trump around the Iran bombing, and a lot of Democrats went left on him. We're going to talk about that. And, of course, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about what is happening in South Carolina around the 10th anniversary last week of the massacre at Charleston Church, 9 people killed, and how it broke a tradition with NAACP not inviting him to their convention, the first president in 116 years, as Trump has dished Juneteenth, having Bishop Reginald Jackson, the AME Church, on about that. So a lot is going to be on this weekend on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Then, of course, you that are in the New York area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the morning. Among our guests tomorrow that will be speaking will be the new Democratic nominee for mayor of New York, Zoran Zoran will be there, and Spike Lee will be there. And when you got Zoran, Ma'am Dammy, and Spike Lee, get there early to get a seat. You that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television or on nationalactionnetwork.net, our live stream. And certainly I want to hear what Ma'am Dammy has to say, as this will be first time in our community since he won. And on Tuesday, it's going to be exciting. All roads lead to the march on Wall Street. People are signing up. Every Friday we give them something they can use as talking points to tell other people why we ought to be marching on Wall Street, why we're holding the corporate world accountable. And of course, I want you that have not signed up, sign up now so we can keep giving you information. Saturday, Sunday, we don't care what day. Sign up and we'll get it to you. It is going to be Thursday, August 28th. We're going to march from the African burial ground 1 mile to the heart of Wall Street, right there in the financial district where they do the Dow Jones and the ticker tape. Let them see thousands of us, disciplined but determined. And you can also sign up by calling 1-877-626-4651. All right, let me go to Brandon in North Carolina. Brandon. Is Brandon there?
I'm sorry. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Reverend?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Reverend. So I'm going to be as quick as I could. I'm not going to say anything crazy because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I'm dealing with a serious issue. It's urgent. It kind of, and I know what. Thank God for their ancestors. And I did my research for my ancestors. They came from Maryland in 1903, went to Jersey since 1903, and they've been there since. Well, in Trenton, New Jersey, born. But to get to my point, Reverend, I'm doing a situation at my job where I can prove with evidence, with paperwork, with a conversation today. Anyway, like legal slavery. You see, black people are being treated one way, the white people are being treated one way, and when I just
this is a job discrimination complaint.
Well, it's bigger than that. It's almost like slavery. It's like a scam. It's like they're treating they're treating different colors. They're treating the Dominicans and the blacks in New York one way, and they're giving us less pay. And we're all doing the same job, but they're getting more pay. They don't send us home. The people, the white people.
Where is this company?
You see the families. They're based in New York, but they do work all through America.
All right, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Get his information. Get it to me. Let me get our team on it.
It's drastic, like today, drastic.
If you let me get your number, I can try to help. I can't do it on the radio. I'm trying to get it to our team. Give them your information. Get it to me, and I'll give it to the team. We'll jump right on and see what we can do. Let's go to Raj in Cleveland, Ohio. Raj, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, Rev, how's it going?
Going fine, doing fine.
Oh, great. Yeah, I like your opening monologue today when you were talking about how people thinking politics has nothing to do with them. They're not into politics because, especially, I guess it came off of the heels of the Mexicans being deported, and the Mexicans see the Trump and MAGA knows, especially the politicians in MAGA, they know, including Trump, that one day people gonna wake up. See, they don't want the Mexicans here. The same reason why they always gerrymandering the voting district, because the bottom line, whether it's Latino or black and any other, they know their vote their vote is what they're fighting against. So the Latinos wake up and know how to vote, and blacks vote more in numbers, regardless of who running for their own interest. Is going to culminate in advantage for minority.
Right.
And women, white women, they got to do the same thing. They realize, the boogeyman is just that. They've been sold this boogeyman. They keep voting against their interests. Regardless of the fact that Trump is in their face taking away their rights. Particularly their own body. Decisions on their body. And so, the only ones seem to have it more about the numbers than anybody as far as like understanding what time it is are black women. In terms of the demographic, if you look at it, if you go by each demographic. But, so they know, so these blacks saying, we don't have nothing to do with the immigrants being deported. You have everything to do with it because, these MAGA farmers, they voted for Trump. Now they losing their immigrants and crop. Now, and they losing their money. They said, they want blacks. A lot of them want blacks to come back and work, thinking that they were saying that this white guy, he said he was on Twitter pretending to be a MAGA farmer, and he said he saw these these white farmers saying, all these blacks, they not working, they come work on our farm, and a lot of, blacks, they got out, it's now spreading around social media, and they in for a rude awakening. But the only thing about that is you can't trust and put anything past MAGA and Trump, because they'll try to make it where, regardless, they'll pigeonhole a lot of blacks into that kind of stuff, into that kind of direction. You got a lot of homeless blacks and underemployed blacks. You don't know what Trump might try to pull off to get that happening. And see, the vote, that goes back to the voting. They know, including the gerrymandering, Texas now got a lawsuit pending for that last year, the way they redrew the redistricting line after they saw where Alabama got theirs turned over to the rights of the people again. And they're hoping to do the same thing, because Texas is a key state. If they, to me, they're the linchpin of the next election. If they get their map together and people, they get the votes, that's it for MAGA and Trump going forward.
Well, Texas is critical for them. You're correct about that. All right, thank you for your call. Let's take a break. Be right back. Exhale Friday, keeping it real. Sharpton, be right back.
Hey, Rev?
Yeah.
Country, talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. Yeah. One more time. I want to say this song. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. He has set me free. God smiled on me. He's been so good to me. Then I went home and I told my mother what Brown told me. And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief. All we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burning down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 don't smile on me. Now then, the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. And that has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I said, God smiled on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on me. We need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Great Power said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time you come home, but just give me some respect when you get there. Lord, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God smiled on me. You've been so good to me. Sit down. And as we move on in history, let us remember that if we look to God, God has an answer to still, and I can still hear somewhere in my mind, James Brown say, God had smiled on me. He had let me free. Let me sing here.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. You got to be the new thing. This is not about likes on Facebook. This is about changes in our society. We got a hostile bigot in the White House, and we don't need a popularity contest. We need people that are grounded and rooted in this and gonna fight with all they got. Jesus went up on the mountain and told his disciples, Reverend Toon said, y'all pray with me. They went to sleep. And when they looked up, they say that he had gone up on the mountain they termed transfiguration. Is that in the book? And he was talking to Moses and Elijah. If Jesus had to talk to those that preceded him, then how you so brilliant you ain't got to talk to nobody? So as we embark on dealing with this DEI fight, I wanted to read, I studied all week. What would Dr. King be saying? What would Reverend Jackson be saying? That's what we do. This ain't a Sharpton thing or whoever thing. This is a thing in continuity. If Dr. King can shut down the Montgomery bus boycott when we couldn't even ride the front of the bus, if Jesse Jackson could take on major corporations before we had cell phones, then we in our day can take these companies that want to say no DEI and shut them down because we come out of a tradition and a lineage that can do. 1-877-532-5797. It is XL Friday, and we are taking your calls and your messages on our message page at our live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And let me go back to the phone. Let me go to my man, the labor organizer extraordinaire in Detroit, to Percy Johnson. Percy, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Well, Mel, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
And I really got something that I want to get off my mind, too. But, you know, normally I wouldn't be able to listen to you. I mean, I'll be listening to you this time of day, but I'm not able to call you because we are, talking to the home care workers in our state to encourage them how to be civically engaged and getting and to get policies and stuff in place that they want. In fact, we got a busload coming back, 2 busloads coming back from D.C. They were up there talking to our senators, telling them to not support cutting the cuts that they want to do to Medicaid. You know, it's going to hurt a lot of people. You know, and, so what I'm frustrated with right now is right up on our nose. We have let policies come in place. We screaming and hollering about Biden being 79, 80 years old. And do you know these people are the Republican majority Congress is taking us 80 years back to where policies was 80 years ago.
That's correct.
Because we're not paying attention to our civic environment that we must play. My brothers and sisters of color, man, we didn't turn out like we should have turned out when we won. When we won, we did not turn out the same way. We said the Palestinians sit up there and let them be used to sit up and go protest against the Democrats and now protest against the Republicans during the election. But here it is, the Democrats, at least on their platform, Kamala Harris, she was at least saying that we have I'm willing to sit down and do a two-state solution. Their policy is making an ocean front out of their land, but they ain't even giving them the right to be on their land no more. They gonna make it an ocean front, and y'all fell for it, and you still not accepting the role that you made a mistake to be ready in 2026 to put these people out of office, man. Do you? It's like, Tommy been on my mind because, in fact, you played that little commercial that Tommy was speaking on, strange fruit. And it's like, man, we're telling them about Project 25. You talk all the time about why we got to get civically involved, why we got to get engaged. If we don't, this is kind of stuff that we lead into, Rev Mel. And I'm like, Lord, I mean, what's that verse? My understanding is I'm staying encouraged because I'm one that strongly believe that as long as I'm on the top side, I'm gonna make my effort to encourage my people to be more civically engaged. Don't give up. Participate. So we were pushing to get 200 people to go to D.C. this past week because we thought they were going to be voting on this bill this week. It looked like they're not going to be doing it to I don't know, maybe over the weekend in the Senate. So the House can go back to them because Trump want to get it done before 4th of July, before they break for summer. But real man, mercy, man. Man. I'm a little frustrated, man, but I ain't gonna give up,
Don't give up.
No. I made a phone call about, getting our bus ready to come up there in D.C. right now. But, man, thank you for your encouragement, keeping me motivated and stimulated, man. And just people, and our conversations need to be on our talking heads, our key talking heads need to start saying more conversation on the damage that the Republican majority Congress is doing to our country. Do you know the stuff that Trump is doing that's totally out of order, wrong? That's why Congress was set up. When the president would be out of order like he is, the Congress would step in and would pull the reins back and let them know you can't run, you can't do this. But the Republican majority Congress is letting them do everything because their mission was to use him to get Project 25. Do you realize if you look at Project 25 today and read the line, they have line by line, they putting Project 25 in place. And they almost got 85 to 75% of that already in play.
I think you're right.
They almost got everything that they wanted in the Project 25 done, y'all. And it's like, and we're talking about, I'm really suspect, real man, when I hear people getting on talking about Democrats, what they need to do when we're not talking about, we need to get the Republicans out of majority
Congress, and we need
Yeah,
in
well,
2026.
I
we
think
need
one
to
of
be strategizing.
I think one of the
Getting him out of
significant
office.
points that you made is that, and I think it needs to be repeated more, that I absolutely abhor what they did in the Gaza, but I just do not understand why all of the demonstrations were against Democrats, never against Republicans, and Trump never had none of his rallies dealing with that. Never had none of them marching on Trump. No encampments on Trump, and he's hand in glove with Netanyahu. It's something very strange to me about that. But I thank you for raising that. Let me bring on the show. Thank you, Percy. Let me bring on my co-host for the last hour every week is Reverend Charles Williams II, pastor of the historic King Solomon Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, and a head of national expansion and Michigan State Chair of National Action Network. Reverend Williams, how you doing?
All is well, Rev. All is well. Man, you must have been reading my mind because I'm telling you, Rev, we spend so much time fighting each other. We spent so much time fighting each other. You know, I've heard all types of conversation throughout the week. This group did this and that group did that. And I'm saying to myself, now our number one numero uno enemy is Donald Trump. Why would we spend so much time tearing each other down when at the very same time we need each other to continue this fight all over the country, whether it's the Black Church, the Church of God in Christ, the National Baptist, the Progressive Baptist, the Pentecostals, whether it's the NAACP, NAN, and ACLU, and everybody else. There is no time for us to be pointing fingers and putting nooses around the necks of those who's supposed to be in the same battle with us. While at the very same time, we find that folks who are turning guns on each other ain't doing nothing, and turning their ammo on each other ain't doing nothing when it comes to fighting the issues that we've got to deal with today. You know,
well, I think you raised something that's important, and that's one of the reasons that I've stayed out of a lot of the back and forward, because I think that we spend more time and more energy tearing each other down than building up the community. And I think that in the long run, people that don't play into that are the ones that the community is going to see are sincere. For example, when I was a kid, Dr. King would do certain marches and moves and head of the National Baptist Convention. Joseph Jackson was opposed to that. Dr. King didn't condemn Joseph Jackson. He just went and he and Gardner Taylor and others formed the Progressive Baptists and had their own conference. And later on, they all related, National Baptist and Progressive. Reverend Jackson had problems with some of the people in the nationalist community, ran for president. And he said, I'm against anti-Semitism, some of what y'all saying. But they worked together on the Million Man March. All of this, fighting like we gangbangers. Yeah. A guy called me, what you going to say about so-and-so? If I was going to talk about people, I talk about people on our side that lied about me helping stuff. So if I've not said nothing publicly about one side, why would I support that with another? Let us all deal with keeping our eye on the prize. What's that expression? If you don't tell a lie on me, I won't have to tell the truth on you. So they should just keep me out of it.
You're absolutely right about it, Rev. You said it when you said it best. We acting like gangbangers. I mean, I'm not saying we are, but I'm saying there are those who are out here acting like we claiming sets. The only set I'm claiming is the set that continues to fight for justice, peace, power, and prosperity. That's why I'm headed to Wall Street.
All right. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton Williams. Be right back.
Who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well
He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old. Went to jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Rev, you know, you were right there
From the beginning.
with the stuff that
Yep.
was going on in Brooklyn at that time at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question. What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair, man.
Yeah, you had the head on.
Now, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut. We went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK. That's when Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia, came to me, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on Civil Rights and Politics.
As far as I know here, you're in trouble. Where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
Okay, Eli, sir.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Reverend Charles Williams is our co-host. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Oscar Johnson in Brooklyn, New York.
Hello, Mr. Brad. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed, Rev. I just wanted to say thank you. I finally just went and paid my rent yesterday for the first time in 5 years. And I want to say thank you, okay? Because without you and Lord, I don't think that would have been possible. The team at the network, Michael, Coco, it's so beautiful to be a part of a team.
Mm-hmm.
Going on 25 years clean. And I haven't been part of a team in 25 years. Into the network, and I got a team again. I love y'all.
I love you, and you stay with us. And I'm glad that we all on the same team.
Thank you, Ed.
All right, let me
Have a
go.
blessed day.
Let me go to Mr. Wells and Metaverse. Mr. Wells. Is Mr. Wells there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Sharpton. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. Look, thank you for the call. And the reason why I'm calling is at some point, I would hope that individuals will figure out where we can work together. You know, I make no apologies for supporting the gentleman as 45 and 47. And now some individuals say, like, Kurt, I ain't working with you. I said, wait a minute, man. I still pay taxes. I'm still a professional in education. I'm still in the community. At some point, we have to work together and be very clear about how we got here. Are you aware of recent developments in Cincinnati, Ohio, Reverend Al, about law enforcement and the death of Ryan Hinton? You aware of this case?
I've heard about it, yes.
Okay, but I want to. Okay, but I'm leading to that to get to a point. Now I want to get on economic development other than this law enforcement thing. Are you aware of the 30 by 30 initiative that we aim for women to comprise 30% of recruits by 2030?
No, I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of that.
Okay. New York University School of Law, Policing Project, 3530 initiative is to advance and support the representation experiences and well-being of women. And they say on their website, as I'm talking to you, the underrepresentation of women in policing undermines public safety. This organization has been around since 2021. I do not agree with it. And right now in Cincinnati, we're having issues with a Caucasian American police chief, Teresa Thietche, and then we have a Hamilton County prosecutor who's a white woman, Connie Pillage. Now look, they're talking about gender. These individuals are acting the same way when we have white guys who were the police chief and the Hamilton County prosecutor, Joe Dieters. And recently, within the last 10 days, the Hamilton County prosecutor has justified the death of Ryan Hinton by the unnamed police officer that was a justified shooting. Now, at some point, if people are going to get active and support this 30 by 30 initiative, because Thietche said in 2021 when she was ascending, once Chief Elliot Isaac stepped down, Cheryl Long had appointed her as interim chief. She was named in 2022. I see it, she didn't have the chops. She doesn't have the chops for it. People say she's a woman. No. This gender thing about making somebody chief, a Hamilton County prosecutor, I don't support it. I would ask everybody, because there's been a number of signatories right now, and the website is 30by30initiative.org. NYU Law School right there in your city is driving this policing project to get 30% of recruits by 2030 being women. Just to say we got women included, no. If it's not a good for African-American males with this Karen movement and Me Too culture, I'm asking everybody wherever you live, go see if your city is signed on to it and say you must pull out to protect African-American males. I have seen no evidence where having 30% of the women makes African-American males safe. Given this case in Cincinnati, what Thietche did, it harms us. Then the county prosecutor is saying, I'm not going to prosecute this cop. We need to stop and rethink this. There's a lot of African-Americans on that side of the aisle, and if I call them out, they're your associates, they're going to get upset with me because you work with them who are Democrats. And please don't get upset. Trump didn't do this, y'all. I mean, Mitch McConnell didn't do this. This 30 by 30 thing is this backlash because Hillary didn't get elected. I don't know nowhere where you're going to say we have 30% of recruits be women just because they're not there. Reverend Allen, Cincinnati is 22 out of 100 now, and we got problems.
All right, well, let me ask you this. How do we deal with you state the need of having black recruits, and how do we set targets to put those numbers on the board for black folks?
Okay, I'm going to respond to you. There was a consent decree, and the gentleman who you know, Cecil Thomas, who was the vice president of NAN, who was a state representative, said he was involved in that lawsuit by consent decree. Those individuals support this women's initiative.
No, you're not answering my question.
I'm just telling you. That's
I'm asking
right
you
there.
how. So you're saying the consent decree is the way to do it?
That's the way they've done it. And we've said, now, actually, let me be clear. Back doing Plessy versus Ferguson with
No, you're avoiding the question.
No, I'm not.
I'm not. I don't need Plessy versus. If you're saying that we should do it with consent decrees, then one of the reasons that many of us are critical of Trump, he did not do the 30. He ended the consent decrees with ending DEI. That is why you're having problems with people saying that you with Trump. You can't condemn women having a goal and you wipe out consent decrees where blacks had a goal.
I beg to differ because you're confusing DEI with inclusion that we fought for with Reverend Sheriff. That's why I was giving you the
I'm not. No. I'm not confusing anything. Once they came with DEI, it becomes the overall arching of any program that is based on race. They're going in companies saying you can't even ask people what their race is. So the consent decree in Cincinnati would fall under that because it did involve race in the consent decree, which the overarching thing now from the Trump administration is you can't discuss race with hiring.
Reverend Sharpton, what you just asked me to answer a question, and I knew you were going to be contentious. Could I do some economics?
How is there? No, you can't do anything when we're talking about this. How am I being contentious to answer what you said? You said that Trump didn't do it, that the Democrats and some folk I know did it. I answered you and showed you how he did do it. That's not being contentious. That's having the dialogue. Then you want to go back to the Magna Carta or something, 1700. We are having a conversation. You said Trump didn't do it. I said he did do it this way. Let's have that conversation.
Okay, allow me to explain quickly without you interrupting. Your DEI.
It's not my DEI. I'm not going to let you continue with falsity. I don't have a DEI.
One you support. Please allow me to respond. Don't step on my words. We had affirmative action, all right? Let's be clear. Then we had EEOC. Right now, you can file an EEOC complaint and get some justice and the affirmative action measure. You can't file no DEI complaint. We got a EEO. It's federal. See,
what are you talking about? That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yes, it does too. Yes,
DEI wiped out the consent decrees. That's what we're talking about.
No,
you going back to affirmative action, which we had since the 60s or 70, 72, all the way to now. Affirmative action, we're not talking about that. You made a statement that you came back up. Just admit that. You called the wrong show, brother. Let's go. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. I mean, you can't make a statement and then go around. I mean, come on, man. I was born tonight, but it wasn't last night. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Williams. Be right back. Keeping it real.
Rev, you know, you were right there
From the beginning.
with the stuff that
Yep.
was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question. What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair, man.
Yeah, you had the head on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut. We went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK.
Come on.
We reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who could run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry? Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well. Look at the story. We celebrated Good Friday and Easter just a couple of weeks ago. Well, there's a message in that. I heard a preacher talk about this the other week. The thing that people forget, I want you to keep this in mind, is they crucified Jesus. Those of us that are Christian believe they hung him on a cross, maligned him, mocked him. Wasn't enough to nail him. They mocked him, saying if you be the king of the Jews, step down and deliver yourself. Mocked him. ridiculed him. He wanted water, they gave him vinegar, crowned him with a crown of thorns. When they should be giving you your celebratory, they're going to give you some attacks. But the end of the story was they went and laid him in Joseph's tomb. Didn't even have a family tomb. Didn't have insurance like some of us. Laid him in a borrowed tomb. But the third morning, this is the story they tell. The third morning, when they came to where they laid him, he wasn't there. My message is to you today that don't let them catch you where they laid you. They may kill your name. They may crucify your character. They may Reverend tell you you're Sharpton, nothing from nowhere. Reverend Charles Williams is our co-host. Don't forget, watch Politics Nation this weekend, Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Over the course of the 2 days, 2 different live shows. But you'll see Senator Peter Welch talking to me live, who's on the Judiciary Committee. I want to talk to him about these votes on BBB and the Supreme Court votes. What can the Judiciary Committee do? Representative Sheila McCormick, who's on the Mideast and North African Committee, I want to ask her what Congress is going to do about getting the truth of what is happening in Iran. We're going to have legal experts break down what these Supreme Court decisions really mean. Janae Nelson, head of the Legal Defense Fund of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Alfonso David of Black Economic Forum. All of them, many of them are my guests. And of course, we are going to have Congressman Al Green on one of the days talking about his motion to impeach President Trump around Iran and how the Democrats would not support him. So it's a lot at you these 2 days. Make sure you watch both 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Then you and the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, come be with us in the morning at the Saturday Action Rally. Get there early because we're expecting a big crowd. Among our guests tomorrow will be Assemblyman Zoran Mamdani. Mamdani just won the Democratic primary to be mayor of New York. There's all kind of coming at him, either Democratic, Socialist, this, that, and the other. We're going to let him speak for himself as to what he wants to do and let people judge for themselves. And, of course, and Spike Lee is going to be there because Spike said he wanted to hear what he had to say if he won. He was there last week when he was just a candidate. And again, we're not endorsing anyone. We're hearing from him. I'm sure he'll bring people that have endorsed him. And we'll be dealing with that Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the Village of Harlem in New York. Now, you that are not in the New York area can watch it on Impact Television, or you can watch it at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. But you that are in the tri-state area, come, but get there early. One of the things, I guess you go through this, Reverend Williams, in church and in your NAN rallies, people come late and want to walk up front looking for a seat. No, you want a seat up front, you get in there, sit yourself down in the back if you couldn't get there on time. Well, go ahead. What's going on at Detroit National Action Network in the morning?
Hey, they better watch it, man, because I heard that the National Action Network Angels, the defense fellas, they don't play. They don't play. They don't play. The one with the high top fade, he'll wrestle you down. I know. He already.
You know the one. You know the one. You know the one.
That's right. That's right. Hey, tomorrow, 10 a.m., historic King Solomon Baptist Church. Wrapping up in the last couple of weeks here, all of the elected officials. We've got some city council candidates. Boy, I tell you, when it's an election time, you got enough people that get around to file in run for office. But we want to hear from everybody, so we're going to let everybody get the opportunity. We've got some council candidates coming. Of course, we've got our political report. But I want you to join us tomorrow at 10 a.m., the historic King Solomon Baptist Church, especially if you have not yet registered for the March on Wall Street. We are all headed to Wall Street for the historic March on Wall Street, August the 28th. You can still sign up. Brother Percy still got some space over there, and we're going to pick out some more buses before it's over with. So join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. Historic King Solomon Baptist Church. Get registered, get ready, and get involved.
All right, let's go back to the phone. Let's go to the one and only irrepressible, extremely activist extraordinaire, I should say, Dr. Marcia McCoy in Cleveland, Ohio of National Action Network.
Again, to our Honorable Reverend Dr. Professor Al Sharpton. I think there's a little echo in the background. I don't know what that is. But all roads lead to New York, for the MOW, the March on Wall Street. We are excited. We just can't wait to get there. But I do want everyone that's listening, if you're in the greater Cleveland area or in the state of Ohio, give us a call at 216-374-0913. 216-374-0913, 216-374-0913. We're all set to go.
All right.
Bishop.
Dr. Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Charles Williams.
Yes, sir.
Hold my mule, my brother.
I got you, Reverend.
All right. A few weeks ago, I stated that the convicted felon occupying the Oval Office would start a war in order to try to secure a third term. We are today possibly in the throes of World War III with our sons and daughters going to war. This wannabe dictator will sacrifice any virtue to rule dictatorially. With his evil Vice President J.D. Vance claiming that in Springfield, Ohio, black folks are eating dogs, vilifying a black woman to go back to the zoo. He told Congressman Jasmine Crockett to go back to the zoo. This white supremacist bigot will go down in world history as part of the most racist administration ever. Both the vice president and the president are pathological, proverbial liars. They claim that 93% drop in egg prices, the drop in gas prices, to immigration, to the war in Ukraine, to the annihilation and destruction of the Iranian nuclear sites, including the latest lie on obstruction. Already more than 125 lies in their 158 days in office. Judge William G. Young, a Ronald Reagan appointee, just stated that I have never seen government racial discrimination like this. Grants that fund research into diversity-related topics like health disparities in black and LGBT communities, canceled by this dictator in order to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion. Outwardly, Trump claims to have done more for blacks since Abraham Lincoln, but in fact he's done more to annihilate black people than any other human being. He denied blacks from entrance to his tower. He's given free rein to bigots like Elon Musk, the 2025 Manifesto of Stephen Miller, and many more. He's done more evil, done every evil deed to make America white again, racist again, pro-slavery again, and turning the clock back on every civil rights victory we've gained in the last 60 or 80 years. This includes trying to electrocute 5 innocent black boys for a crime they did not commit. To corroborate the fact that he is a David Duke racist, a white supremacist, this potty-mouthed convicted felon bigot has only 3 people of color in his inner circle. He arbitrarily and capriciously fired black generals whom he falsely claimed were there by diversity, equity, and inclusion. The rule of white men is obviously, ingloriously, clearly exemplified in his presidency. Blacks get back, yellow mellow, whites forever. Democracy laments that this immoral racist ever graced this planet, and dignity, decency, compassion, and regality weeps and wails and cries. May the good Lord give us the help and the votes we need to obliterate this demonic, diabolical, debilitating evil poison from the essence of the earth. Join Dr. Al Sharpton, Dr. Charles Williams, and the National Action Network today. Thank you, Doctor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Cavness. Let me see if I can get Ray in from Cincinnati. Ray?
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming to me, Rev. Rev, a couple quick things. I wasn't going to call because I called a few days ago, but when I heard your opening monologue, I said to myself, "You're right. Everything you do, well, not you, everybody, it's political.
Right.
But you tell that to some blacks, Republicans, and Democrats who don't vote, who won't vote, they'll think you're crazy." Now, when people call the radio station, you just take black folks who don't vote. They'll call the radio station. They'll call you, Rev, and that's political. Do people think that Kathy Hughes just automatically gave her a radio station to own? No, people died and people voted and people marched just so you can have the right to call an Al Sharpton or Lincoln Ware. But they don't think that way, Rev. We got this community called Winton Terrace here in Cincinnati of about 5,000 people, one close-knit community. They got one school where they vote, and a couple years ago, out of 5,000, only 5 voted. 5. Not 50.
Wow.
5.
Wow.
That's a shame, Red. I don't know what the percentage was this past election, but a couple years ago, only 5 people voted. So everything is political, Red. But let me ask you this real quick, because I just thought of it. I could have Googled it, but I thought of it. I don't know what percentage of the Latinos Trump got, but when they come over here and then they become citizens, is that for life, or do they have to re-up every 15, 20, 30 years, or is that for life?
I think it's in stages. If they get citizenship, that's for life. But if they get, as my understanding, if they get there's other steps that you can get that you have to check in. I don't remember the name of it, but it gives you a time period. So, but if it's citizenship, this is that's permanent as far as I know. Yes.
Okay, and then Trump, if it's not, Trump is coming after you. The Latinos that voted for Trump and want to act like they bonding with the whites, Trump is coming for you too. And they're having buyer's remorse. But enjoy your weekend, Rep.
All right, thank you, and enjoy yours. I hear the music's time to go. Let me thank Reverend Charles Williams II. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Happy birthday, Miss Eunice. And remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you Monday.